I started this channel to tell my childhood story. I'm a Rebecca girl, Lester Roloff, Corpus Christi, Texas. I was there 3.5 years. I would like to tell you my version of what happened and our side of the story. Everybody claims he's this great man of God, and maybe to some he is. This old-time religion preaching, the evangelicals under the tent revivals. But see, I know a man with horrific abuse, with greed and power and money. We was his crown jewels, and he got very rich off of trauma, off of children. So I read a lot of things and a lot of articles, and a lot of it's got misinformation. A lot of it ain't the truth. A lot of it's twisted and extorted. So I would like to tell the truth as I remember as being there on the farm. And I would like to tell you about my little murderers, he called. 5 girls that plotted a murder in Corpus Christi, Texas, July 1st, 1978. See, we was all in there, and we kept hearing that it was going to close. The Supreme Court was overruling it. We had to be licensed. We waited day by day. Every day we thought they were coming. For a year, no one came. And all of a sudden, one day, we get called over the intercom. Everybody had to go to their room, and we sat on our beds. None of us really knew why at that point. We knew something was going on, but we wasn't for sure, and we sat there for hours. Come to find out, 5 of my friends, our sisters, plotted to get out of the home, and they took a pair of scissors and a knife and made a homemade knife. And a girl that wasn't very long, she came in. She was kind of a bigger girl, kind of a slower girl, you know, like me, you know, quiet and shy, to sit back and mind her own business. She wasn't no trouble. She didn't cause no trouble. But they picked her, and they chose her in the prayer room, and they stabbed her in the back. The main issue of this whole thing wasn't that she got stabbed. It was that she sat in the office while they called her parents. Her mother drove from Kansas City to Corpus Christi, Texas, not knowing her daughter was stabbed 5 times in the back, sitting in an office with no medical treatment. Roloff didn't report it. No one reported the incident because he didn't want to bring no more attention to the home. So not bringing attention could have caused that child's life, like other incidents that were very dangerous to our health. We had no medical care, and this was very serious. She had very serious injuries. And I will post some news articles and stuff after this video. But for the truth to be told, that this is a great man of God, no, he wasn't. He was just like the rest. The only thing he cared about was money and power and more money. See, Lester Roloff didn't care about us. If he cared about us like he said, he would have done everything he could to keep our home. That was the only home I had for 3.5 years. But now, here I go again, homeless in the foster system, because he didn't want to abide by their laws. Everybody says, oh, it's over licensing. It wasn't even over licensing. The whole court battle everybody's got wrong. It started over the preschool, Park Avenue schools. It didn't start at Rebecca. It continued into Rebecca. Then when it got to Rebecca in the 1973 abuse case, he had a plea deal. He made a plea deal. He signed them papers, and he broke that plea deal and caused this whole cycle that it seems like nobody even wants to talk about. But what it was him not letting no man to check on us. What was so bad? If there was nothing to hide, why couldn't they just come in and oversight and say, hey, these girls are okay? Because they told us over and over they didn't want the religion, Bible, or nothing be taken away from him. They just wanted to make sure we were safe, because girls were running with major injuries, stabs, missing children, and it was a whole mess of abuse under the fundamentalist, separatist, church and state law. He got a religious exemption for. So my channel is to tell you my version of Lester Roloff and Rebecca Home for Girls. So many times I hear Lester Roloff didn't do no abusing, that he was just the overseer and ran it. He was too busy flying away, you know, getting money and donations. But let me tell you something, that was his church, and Sunday and Wednesday he was there to preach. See, that's a myth that he wasn't there all the time. Did he fly away a lot? Yes. Did he go to other places a lot? Yes. But he always took Rebecca girls, the honeybees, with him to seduce more money and beg for more money and donations. But he was always back and forth. And if people would read the court case, he says right there in it that he gave the girls a good thrashing. What do you think thrashing means? I know what it meant. Because, see, it wasn't good, loving home. It was spare the rod, spoil the child, corporal punishment. See, they beat us into submission. People say, oh, but it changed so many. You got saved. Well, where are all these saved girls? Because very few have ever spoken out to be saved. Yes, there's been a few that said, yes, it changed my life. It changed my life too. You know, is it for the good or the worse? We will never know. But now here comes the Supreme Court case that with the stabbing. All the way to May 24th, 25th of 1979, the case was still going on. But what people don't know, when it said the girls became Christians and got salvation, I bet they did. You would too, if you knew the punishments they got. See, one of the girls, I know, we smelt in the hallway. She was in lockup for so long. We could smell her. That takes a while to be like that. See, in isolation lockup, you got the intercom play 24/7 and the lights on and very little food. And the only thing you did, no shower, no nothing. So she was in there for a while. But next thing we know, her and Lester Roloff are best friends. She's getting taken out of school, playing tennis, riding bikes, doing things we could never do. She you know, and they became very close. Maybe it was because of the case. Maybe it was just for show. We'll never know. But one thing I know, that they play basketball quite often. We'd be watching them out the window. We had Bible study. We had Bible classes. Sundays and Wednesdays we went to the church. Every night we had our prayer meetings and our prayer things where the Bible was all we knew. We studied it all the time. I know the Bible very well. I don't know too much of spelling, writing, and history, but I do know the King James Version Bible, and that was more than what people should have thought about. They should have thought about our education. We didn't care about the Bible like that. We wanted to go to school. We wanted to make better lives for ourselves. We wanted a future like any other little girl could. And all this stuff that he claims. Oh, we were dope fiends from hippie hives, eternal cases nobody wants. There's plenty of footage out there. We were little kids that got put into an abusive situation and held hostage behind a fence and locked doors. See, we didn't have a choice. He didn't have a congregation. He had hostages. So in the court case, here comes Misty's mother admitted she made a big mistake by sending Misty to the home. And they never offered her nothing, no settlement or nothing. They were going to try the girls as an adults, but they didn't. The case ended up getting dismissed. But that was May 25th, 1979. As you know, June 16th, 1979, the Christian Alamo came, the state came and got us. So maybe their plan did work to close the home. Everybody says it didn't have nothing to do with it, but in my heart, I know it did. Because, see, the Supreme Court already ruled 2 years ago that it needed to be licensed, but nothing happened. We waited day by day. Everything they said, nothing happened. It was just a continuance of this and a continuance of that, and we sat by and thought, are we going to die today? Are we going to get beat to death in a home that was made out of supposed to be God, religion, and love? Because it was far from that. Our abuses were very horrific, and a lot of us turned against the Bible and God and Christianity. See, because we know, because they kept yelling church and state, religious exemption, but all we knew was politicians and evangelicals, because that's all it was involved, were a bunch of politicians, Clements, Bush. There's so many of them that were involved with this. So where was the separation from the church and state? Because we didn't see it. Roloff got no consequences for none of his actions, for none of the abuse that we ever had. All the Roloff employees got immunities. And when the homes did shut down, 6 months later, they were back up and running under the People's Church, religious exemption. And that's why I speak out today, because they continue to spread like cancer through the states. The same abuse, just different people, different owners, different states, and different names of the homes, but the same horrific punishment. Don't ever think that was the first severe thing that ever happened at the Roloff homes. Because before that, Bobby came a quadriplegic. Girls drunk bleach. One girl lost half of her stomach for no medical treatment. There were severe consequences behind their actions done to children that left children in trauma and serious health conditions. We never had our monthly because they gave us something to stop it. So many women could not bear children afterwards. See, this was not a nice place, and it was not a man of God. And a man of God does not sell babies. Then everybody knows that he did.